Shakira, and together we are Patience to Patience. Because Lord knows you have to have some patience when dealing with your patients in this crazy world of travel nursing. We are back for our first video, technically our second, but our first content video where we are going to be talking about
travel nursing.
Intro to travel nursing. Alrighty, so let's kick us off. Shakira, tell us about travel nursing.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what is travel nursing. So basically, travel nursing is just basically being able to go to another facility for a short period of time. We talk about the standard contract is usually 13 weeks long, especially if you're new at this. They're going to want you to do a 13-week contract. And just being able to travel to different states outside of at least 50 miles outside of where your permanent residence is, and being paid a little extra money in order to work at that hospital. So you're not considered staff, you're contracted through the hospital.
So basically, hospitals have requisitions that they want to fill for nurses. They have gaps in their schedule, whether or not they're beefing up for like flu season, or they have someone out on maternity leave, or whatever the case may be, or they're having an influx in census. So hospitals will actually create requisitions that they'll send out for to different travel agencies for requirement for nurses in certain departments. So it could be med surg, it could be OR, it could be ICU. So it's all contract work. You won't actually be an employee of the hospital, you'll actually be employed by your agency. So like Shakira said, the typical contract is 13 weeks. So like we said, we're coming in to fill a need for a finite amount of time. There are times, a lot of times, where once you get on assignment somewhere that you get to extend your contract.
Yes.
And you can stay longer, but typically the standard travel nursing contract is 13 weeks.
Yes, sometimes you can extend depending on what their needs are, and hopefully you like what place you want, where you go. So
and that's kind of the beautiful thing about it is, you know, you're only committing really to 13 weeks. So if you hate it, I mean, you can stop out anything for 13 weeks and you just know that that's not a hospital, that's for you going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's a really, really good experience to kind of try new things. Like Shakira said, just kind of get out of your comfort zone, get out of your state if you want to. You can travel within your state as long as you're outside of the 50 miles. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we go into like contracts and stuff like that. But we wanted to give you a down and dirty about actually what is travel nursing, because a lot of people don't really know what it is or like what it entails. So the qualifications to be a travel nurse is usually at least 1 year experience in your specialty. Sorry, new grads, like they're not going to take you on without any experience. They want ready-made nurses that are ready like yesterday.
Yeah, keep in mind, like the hospitals that you do work at, some higher acuity hospitals, like if you want to work at a trauma center, even for ICU, they're like, no, you have to have 3 years of experience as a nurse before they will take you on.
It can range of what they're looking for as qualifications, but the bare minimum is at least
the
1
most,
year.
like 90% of the hospitals are okay with the year, but those higher acuities where they want to make sure that you're a very experienced nurse.
For instance, I'm a chemotherapy nurse. I give chemo, so a lot of the contracts that I will see, they want at least 2 to 3 years. Like Shakira said, if it's the bigger hospitals where they know that they can be picky with the type of nurses that they're getting, they will usually require like 3 years. And when you talk to the managers in your interview, they'll ask you that, and they'll have your resume and everything, so they will verify that you actually have that experience that you're saying that you have.
Yeah. So your agent should be telling you this. Your agency, wherever you go to, should let you know that that's the requirement, because usually they tell the agency nurse has to have 3 years. So they don't put you through the interview process,
and you don't have it.
Yeah,
typically, like your agency will screen you and say, okay, well, you know, you meet the bare minimum requirements that they're looking for, or you far exceed it. So that kind of leads us into location.
Location, super important, because you have to depend on what you're here for. Are you here to make a lot of money, and that's just mainly your focus, or are you here to go make a little money while you're on vacation and do a destination place like Hawaii, or like where we are, California, or some people like, oh, I want to go to New York. They'll go take an assignment up there. So wherever you feel like you want to go. But for most people, it's probably money, but you can enjoy both, I think.
You can have the best of both worlds with travel nursing. That is the beautiful thing about what we do as nurses, is that we have flexibility, and we have like, the world is really like our oyster. So like Shakira was saying, there's kind of this fine balance between destination locations and big paying contracts. So typically when you go to a destination location like Hawaii Hawaii is beautiful, but they pay like crap. And they know that they can do that because people are coming there for the destination. Whereas somewhere that might be cold, like Milwaukee, or, that's like not like a destination, like a touristy spot, they might be having these huge packages, but it might not be an area that people are going to, especially like I would say the colder states during the winter time, they will pay big bucks because sometimes people don't want to go to the cold, so they'll, as an incentive to get nurses to want to come work there, they will pay more. So it's kind of this balance. Every now and then, like, you find that sweet spot, like you get that unicorn when it comes to travel nursing, like the holy grail, like that's something fantastic in a destination. Those contracts do exist. I mean, I've had one or two of those. Just saying.
So you'll learn how to be more picky about where you want to go as you learn what you like and what you don't like in your assignment.
And what you're looking for to get out of the assignment. Like you said, like if you're in it to make some money, like and you can tough it out in a cold place for 13 weeks, go to a cold place and make $2,500 per week take home. Like
exactly, you get that experience. But they're also, keep in mind, compact nurses. Compact licenses. So I actually am from New Orleans. So Louisiana just became a part of the compact state because we never were. I think that happened this year, or last year.
That's my home state.
So that is the awesome thing to have. So if you're living in your state right now and you did not sign up for a compact license, please do before you go travel nursing, because you have that up to that license expiring. It makes a big difference. There's at least 20 something states on that compact list, and I'm telling you, it is a headache. I just had to get a Colorado license. It is annoying every time you have a new assignment or you want to go somewhere to get another license every single time. It never gets, the process is never ungrueling at all. I hate it.
So what Shakira is talking about when it comes to the compact licensure is that you can get compact designation on your license. So there are the compact states, the states that are inclusive in the compacts. And if you get your license in that state and you can prove residency in that state, you can waive in to get your compact designation. And what that means is that when you have a compact license, you can work in any of those states that are in the compact without getting a new license for each individual state. So it really does like change the game, because when it comes to travel nursing, they want you to already have your licensure in that state before they submit you for that assignment, because no job wants to wait for you for 2 months. There's already people that have their license in that state. So it's really important that to kind of judge what you want to do. And if you know you want to go to California or Hawaii, put in for your license already, so you have it and you're ready to go. Or if you happen to be in a state and not have your compact designation, get it, because you can just pounce on that job when you see it, because you have a leg up because you already have licensure in that state, and you have to have a license in any state where you practice.
Yeah, and keep in mind, certain states take a longer time than others. Certain states
California
have temporary license, certain ones don't. We live in California, 8 weeks. It doesn't matter what you do, who you talk to.
It takes a while.
They will make
Hawaii,
you wait the 8 I think they have like a notification that says 8 weeks done. And then they send
then they start looking at it.
They click submit. Okay, she waited her full 8 weeks. Now we'll approve you. It took exactly that amount of time. So some states will take a longer time to get through.
So it's really important that if you know you want to go somewhere, go ahead and get your compact designation. Go ahead and submit for your license in that state. It doesn't hurt to have your license in that state, and it will pay for itself in the long run, especially if travel nursing is something you really want to do, for sure.
Yes.
So that takes us into nursing shortages. So that's kind of something we like to touch on, because it's kind of one of those things that like people don't really, like certain states have nursing shortages, but you don't really know how that plays into travel nursing. So how does that play into travel nursing shortages?
So if you have a nursing shortage in your area, you typically are going to see higher pay rates in that area, even if it's an area that usually typically, like the South, as we all know, if you're from there especially, they don't pay great. But if there's a nursing shortage in that hospital, in that area, you'll get those higher pay rates. And they'll have things called rapid response. And they want nurses in super quick. So they're willing to pay either bonuses or get you to sign on at a higher rate. So nursing shortages, where those states are super important if you're looking for, I don't want to really go to like here, California, or any place like that, even though they're paying high, I want to go somewhere that's closer. You can look for nursing. Now keep in mind, you can stay in your state. It has to be 50 miles away from your permanent residence.
Right.
So you don't even have to leave your state if you can find something within that 50-mile limit.
Right.
So you may find something that has, there's a nursing shortage over here. Texas is a big state. you can find something easily in there so where you don't have to travel far. You can come back home pretty often and quickly without having to pay too much money out of pocket with traveling to and from.
So it's important to kind of just know, like, kind of keep yourself abreast of areas that might be short on nurses because you can make a lot of money, which kind of leads us into rates. So depending on the time of year you travel makes a big difference in the amount of money you make. Like, you will see stuff posted for winter rates, and typically, like I kind of touched on earlier, like the states that are colder, actually most of the states typically pay more in the winter because a lot of people want to travel during the summer, because people that have kids like myself, you can travel during the summer because you can just bring your family with you. So during the winter, it's usually a little bit harder to get nurses. So a lot of times states and hospitals will up their rates for winter pay. So you'll notice that depending on the time of year that you travel, whether it be like during winter or summer, the rates will be higher. And like I said, keep in mind, if you want to go to a destination place, like for instance, Hawaii, you will not make as much money for sure in the summer. Like, those contracts and the cost of living is really high there. So that's kind of, the name of the game is like finding a place that you want to be, that you can deal with, and like, do I want to be in Hawaii? And I'm okay with taking like less money to be in Hawaii for 3 months, like on somebody else's dime, or do I want to go somewhere and like where I can just like make bank and like totally just make some money like quick?
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Keep in mind, definitely look at what the trend is at most hospitals in the United States. Summertime, we all know census drops, and you can get called off a lot, especially
Right.
for per diem and things like that.
Right.
When it's the highest time where there's like always calling, we're short, we
Right.
need people to come in. It's during the
It's
winter time.
people
People
getting
tend
sick.
to get sicker during the winter.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing happens with travel nursing during the winter time, starting around August. You'll see all of a sudden all these spikes in jobs and salary and pay and people wanting to pick up assignments all across the U.S.
Yeah.
So this is, if you're looking to get into it, it's what, September now?
It's a good time to
go.
get into it. Yeah.
So,
I'm actually working on a new contract right now. I'm in between assignments, which is kind of cool about traveling. You can kind of say, okay, I'm going to work for 13 weeks, then I'm going to take off a month. It's so cool because you can make whatever your schedule is. You can build that stuff into your contract, and that's actually what our next Our next video is going to be all things agencies. We're going to be telling you guys about all the big agencies, kind of the do's and the don'ts, like how it works, about everything that you need to know about, like which agency to choose, which agency works well for me, how does this whole agency thing work, like I don't get it. So we hope that we gave you a little tidbit, a little nugget of information about what travel nursing is. Again, guys, we're super excited for all of this that we have, that we're giving you guys. We've said before, we've made a ton of mistakes when it comes to travel nursing.
There was nobody like, oh, I can talk to and just like give me like, yeah, do this. If you
Right,
want to travel.
exactly. So we wanted to like educate people so they could go informed, because knowledge is power, and power is making some money, and we all want to make a little bit extra of that, have a little extra in my pocket. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we hope that you take away something from this and that we've given you a little bit of information. Again, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you know when we upload new content, and we'll be doing that weekly.
Oh yes, weekly. Don't forget to be afraid to leave a comment. We want you to try to give you as much information as we can, and if we're missing something, we would love to have that discussion with you.
If there's a
Future
topic
videos,
that
so.
you want to be like, this is a burning question I have, please, Dana, Shakira, tell me about this, we want to know more. Please let us know. Please make sure you hit us up on social media, follow us on Instagram, everything, and make sure you slide into our DMs if you have any questions about anything. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and we will see you again soon. Bye.